Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome back to the Realm of Inspiration. I am here in Greece, and I am gonna do a channeled video about the journey from Citrine to Amethyst. Per the messages for January, it was shown and told that the journey from Citrine to Amethyst was going to be playing out throughout the month of January. That the beginning of the month we would be in the Citrine state, very much working on connection to our inner power, our inner strength, solar plexus cleansing, moving into Ametrine, which is the in-between, in the mid of January, which is kind of where we're at right now, is that middle point. Ametrine is one of those crystalline energies that I don't know by heart exactly if it is one that is better for, you know, the crown or the solar plexus, but I definitely feel like it is better for the third eye. It is one that can help enhance the power of your third eye. I do feel like, you know, amethyst is good for the crown and good for everything. So is citrine, technically. And then by the end of January, we're supposed to be in the amethyst state, so more higher connection that's going to carry us forth into February and the Lunar New Year. That's my interpretation. I don't necessarily know exactly what they meant by that. So, of course, I'm gonna, you know, try and channel, and I got the sun shining on me. I got this beautiful blue door that seems like such a great background, but I kind of want to do the channeling in a different background. So let's see. Kind of want to do it right here. Because when I was in Andros, I did a channeling with a view, and I am in Coroni yet again because I cannot stay away from here, apparently. It hasn't even been like 6 months and I'm back. So I'm gonna do it here. Although I do like the coloring of, obviously, the houses. So let me pull up a chair, sit down with our mountain behind us. Let's see, can you see it? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mountain there, which has snow on it, and it is like in the 60s Fahrenheit. Pretty nice, because I came from the Midwest where it was like -20, so -30 Fahrenheit, so I'm loving this. So I don't know, I do very much feel like the Ametrine energy is shining through in a state of change. We're in this in-between where we're figuring out where we're going and exactly how we're going to become amethyst, exactly how we're going to go through that transition. So I don't know who to channel for this specifically. I don't know who would be the best Elfian to come through. Maybe the one of Ametrine would be the best option to be the one that I channel in this video. So I did a million protections and prayers yesterday. Traveling, had lots of opportunities for prayer as the church bell goes off. Love. One thing I definitely missed about staying here was that I could kind of track every 30 minutes by every time that bell went off. I did arrive here in the evening time, and I didn't get to fully see just like how gorgeous this view is. I do feel the Ametrine energy in the sense of like just joyfulness in regards to change. I was wearing amethyst and citrine. I don't have any Ametrine jewelry. I have an Ametrine crystal at home, but I was wearing amethyst and citrine on the same hand on this arm when I was traveling, and then I kind of like felt the need to take off the citrine at some point during my flight. It just like, I was like, I kind of want to take it off, so I took the ring off. And yeah, it was very weird. At some point I just felt like, you know, love citrine, it's my birth crystal, but I was just like, I feel like it's done. Like I've transitioned out of that. So just kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. And be hyper overexcited. So I think it's gonna be an Elfian Crystalline Elemental of Ametrine that's gonna come through. So please ignore all the noise because I know there's gonna be so much noise of cars and everything. So I'm gonna try and hopefully the elves can speak above it. You know, we'll try our best, but gorgeous view. There is the main road in and out of Coroni is like right below, so there is some noise. So we'll try our best to hopefully not let that interfere. They're gonna yell at me for crossing my legs, so because you kind of block energy when you do that. But it's also a way to protect your energy. I have had a few cat sightings, so I do want to announce that I am going to do, hopefully, I'm gonna go, there's a spot I really want to go and do a channeling in. I brought my camera specifically to do it, but I'm doing this on my phone because my camera is not charged. Should have charged it before I left. But there is going to be a Cleansers of the Earth channeling, and I want to do it in a very specific spot because I am kind of hoping for cat crossings when I do that channeling, just because I'm going to be connecting to them since they are Cleansers of the Earth, and I've seen quite a few have crossed my path today, particularly orange and white ones. So cute. I don't know if they're the same one, but I'm like, I recognize that one, but then also it could look the same. It could still be the same ones from the summer. I don't know. But I love them. So that video is going to be a bigger video. I'm gonna hopefully try and have it come out this month because I'm recording this and posting it right away, basically on the same day, or in the next few days. So hopefully that video is going to come out soon, but that's kind of like a bigger project I'm wanting to work on about the Cleansers of the Earth. I'm going to do another little project I'm working on as well that includes the Cleansers of the Earth. Just wanting to talk more about, and specifically the animals, because they're here for something so much bigger than what we think they're here for, and so are we. So I'm very excited about that. The Cleansers of the Earth project is underway. I just had to wait to come here to Greece, where the main three, owls, snakes, and cats, can coexist in the wild together. That's the perfect environment in, you know, this country that is so beautiful. I mean, specifically, even on Andros, I mean, saw snakes, cats, owls, they just all coexist together pretty harmoniously, so it's the perfect place to do that. So announcing that, because I'm excited now. Ametrine, and I can already feel the Crystalline Elfian Elemental of the Ametrine. She's a divine feminine frequency with some divine masculine undertones that come from the Citrine influence, but more dominantly feminine energy. And just already I can feel that we were working through a lot of like masculine energy healing in the beginning of the month, because that's how Citrine is. There's a little bit residual of that, but we're really transitioning into the feminine as well. And by the time we get to Amethyst, hopefully those things will be kind of, some of those little nudges will be resolved and cleared and healed, and we can start transitioning into higher work. So let's get started with the channeling. Yeah, it's very supercharged energy, because another cleanser of the earth is the sea, the salt water. And mountains do also hold cleansing properties as well. So we're ready starting that work. Okay. Safe and protected, nothing and no one can access me nor my energy without my permission. I'm surrounded by divine light and love. I ask the sea to take away any negativities to reconstitute into the light in the mountains to help me as I do this channeling, since you guys are right behind me, and the trees to ground me as well. Now let's call upon a divine feminine crystalline Elfian elemental of the cosmic Elfian elemental domain of the Elfian Realm. And I can already feel the heart, a lot of heart-centeredness coming through before she steps through. So let's let her come through now. Hello, beautiful beings. How nice it is for us elves to be communicating through the communicator now in such a beautiful physical location. Now, what I am wanting to communicate to you all about, I work with Ametrine, a beautiful crystalline energy, and there's a lot of balancing involved with that crystal energy, and that's definitely the energy going on right now. It's a lot of balancing things and keeping your spiritual belief systems intact, modifying them, and allowing the balancing of the masculine and the feminine spirituality. There's two different energies when it comes to spirituality. There's the masculine spirituality that is more Christ consciousness centered, and the feminine spirituality that is more earth connection centered, and those two spiritualities fusing together. So the moving and blowing with the winds and the earth versus connection to source and higher power, truly God and Gaia, different spirituality connections balancing together, going through the transition of allowing more of a connection with the earth to come through and not forgetting the connection with the earth, because you can be a little too floaty sometimes and need to ground down, and that's something happening right now for the collective is needing to kind of ground yourself before massive changes start happening. And it's slow and gradual changing the journey from Citrine to Amethyst, Ametrine to Amethyst. Wow, I've never said that through our communicator. I didn't realize how they fuse together, but they are the same thing at the end of the day. The journey is gradual, and it is very subtle. It's not going to happen overnight, but when it does happen, something beautiful is created, something different, something new. And even the in-between state between you guys all and the collective reality know Citrine and Amethyst, and Ametrine is this in-between that isn't used as much, isn't referred to as much. And it's that in-between state between the citrine that you know and the amethyst that you know, and those are vastly different crystals. At the end of the day, they do different things, even though they started off in the beginning being the same. And Ametrine is that in-between state, and just the general message that the middle part of a journey is such a beautiful part as well. It has its own zest for life, and when you are in the middle of a massive change, that period houses so much beauty and so much power for healing, for balancing, for harmony, for alignment, for understanding, for truth, for inspiration. There's so much held in that in-between of change, and there's a lot of change that's going to happen. It's important for you all to know that there's a lot of beauty in the in-between and to enjoy the present moment. What can happen is that you all want the change to happen right away, and you're not giving that time in the in-between to allow the joy of the present moment through, because you're focusing so much energy on the change that you want to happen. And so the general message for this period in January that's going to carry forth throughout this year is to allow yourself to live in the present moment, in the moments that are in the uncomfortableness between change, in the moments where you're in that in-between, where you still have parts of the old with you and you're bringing parts of the new. You're not fully actualized in the new yet, but you are beginning to get there. You are starting to get there every single day, and enjoying the present moment of each day when you're in that state, because how often do the past and the future collide? They only collide in the present moment. So letting them collide and letting them be beautiful. Now, the journey from citrine to amethyst, the citrine crystal goes through different changes. How does that spiritually relate to all of you? Well, let's say you are citrine. You are this clean, powerful slate. You start off in the beginning very supercharged with who you are and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. That's how you start at the beginning of this year and month, is all of these goals, all of these resolutions, what you want to do. And slowly you started noticing, well, I need to take a break. I need to take a rest, because the beginning of the solar year starts in the winter season, meaning a lot of rest is actually needed. So when you started taking that rest, there is opportunity for retrospectiveness and introspectiveness and reflection and journaling and healing and self-help and the time to work on developing. And as you listened to the elements, listened to the weather telling you to start taking a break, you started tuning in to the feminine spirituality, which is allowing the elements in nature to tell you what's going to be happening next. When you start allowing yourself to do that, you start going through that little transition period of trusting, not just trusting higher power, but also trusting that your best interest is at heart in everything that happens. Even if there's a snowstorm, a rest is needed, and that's what it's telling you. When you take the rest, that's when the deep change starts happening, because you're allowing yourself to sit in the stillness and go through change, and not keep go, and not allow the period for shedding the old. That's entering the Ametrine, is you're allowing yourself to rest and blend and become something new, start shedding the old, and morph into this new thing. That's where you're at right now in the collective. And you're going to keep going through this pattern multiple times throughout the year. I want to say at the start of this year, it's going to happen a lot more. But it is going to be a common pattern of experience, almost as if in the collective, what you're going to do is take different parts of yourself and different parts of your society, different parts of your community, different parts of your reality, and put it through this process of change so that it can go through becoming something new and more powerful, more impactful at the end. And that in-between state, and really just allowing yourselves to become comfortable with change. The problem that ends up happening in a lot of human connection, a lot of human experience, is the lack of acceptance of change. Being afraid of change, being afraid of new experiences, being afraid when things get out of your control. And towards the end of the Citrine control in January, there was a lot of, fear around control and things going and things changing. And once you start moving with the change and flowing, that's when you go into the Ametrine state of being, which is where you all are moving into right now, is moving in and embracing change. That's what Ametrine is. You are starting to embrace the change, and that's the cycle and journey that you'll all start to continue to go through, is starting to embrace change and putting parts of yourself, putting parts of your community, parts of your society, parts of your life into the journey of starting to accept change and living in the present moment when things are not perfect, when things are not amethyst, when things are not fully that gorgeous purple crystal that you know and you love. It's this in between. It's a purple crystal with hues of yellow, and it's meshing and it's beautiful. And maybe in some ways it's even more beautiful because it's showing change. So allowing yourself to accept the change and having the old and the new kind of fusing together until the old disappears. But it's going to take a little bit of time. Once you move past that into the amethyst, you're not done. The amethyst is the beginning of something. Amethyst opens the door, it opens the crown, it opens the healing, it opens the beginning. Now that you have experienced the change to bring you into the beginning, you are there, you are starting something new, and every time you start something new, there's so much unlimited potential your way. There's so much unlimited potential that will find you. So, when you embrace the change, you allow so many more opportunities to come your way. And that's really all I have to share about that, and I'll let the communicator conclude the messages. Thank you all for hearing us crystalline elementals speak to you all. Moved up. I opened my eyes, I'm like, I'm halfway out the camera frame. Okay. They do that a lot. They like to move and talk like this. Anyway, definitely birds of change making their voices heard. Can't tell if they're crows or magpies because they do sound pretty similar. At least to me, my interpretation, they sound similar. She wants me to conclude because I saw images of specific things going through the change. So particularly in regards to traveling and business change, a lot of people going through business changes, going through the metamorphosis process. You could even think like Citrine-Amethyst is kind of like the journey from caterpillar to a butterfly, and you have that in-between state where you're in that cocoon as well. If the crystalline kind of real world example of that isn't one you can relate to or connect to as much. I think that like a butterfly, and butterflies are also symbols of change and messengers of change, and it can be some other energy to connect to think that we are right now, we're in a cocoon and then we're gonna bloom and blossom through, and we're gonna keep going through that because more butterflies need to be made. I saw a lot of business financial changes for people's lives. I saw kind of an example for my own life, so I'm gonna talk about it. On my way here, there was a lot of different changes. I had a very concrete plan, and I made it in the Citrine state. I made it before going through a change that I needed to go through. Yeah, they look like crows. There's a lot of them. Yeah, lots of them. Definitely indicating that there's change. There's lots of death happening. Death not necessarily meaning people dying, but old selves, old beliefs, old thought patterns, just shedding what no longer serves us is definitely what the crows have to say. Now, back to my own example, I had some hiccups along the way, and I it's like almost as if going through the winds of change. So first, flight canceled. What do? Weather in Germany canceled. Have to reschedule, have to pay a difference, have to do this, and like all of that happening the day before. So the 16th, no, the 17th, so the day before, which was fun. And because of that happening, okay, then how I'm gonna get to Corona got changed. Everything got changed. And having to work and plan and spending a whole day changing everything to match the new plan. And what I learned in that moment and in that experience is that when change happens, you can either sit and cry about it because something isn't going the way you planned it, or you can do something you're gonna experience things a little differently than the way you wanted to, but you're still gonna get to the same destination in the end. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter how I got here, And it wasn't in the way I planned, but the point wasn't how I got here. The point was getting here. So that's also in the journey of our life and in the journey of change. The point isn't, how we're going to get there, and we can't control how we're going to change. We can't control the outcome of things. Even in my work, we wanted to, my day human job, we wanted to change things. We want to keep changing things. We wanted to just be done with the old and set the new, but it wasn't the right time, and we can't force things to happen when it's not the right time. We're going to get to the same destination. It just might happen at a different time than we want, and that's the point. We're not supposed to have control over time or over change. We're supposed to allow it to happen. When I mean I went through the winds of change, we were flying over the Atlantic Ocean in probably the worst turbulence I've ever experienced in my entire life, where I was not the only one. Pretty much everybody on the flight kind of thought we were gonna die. Like, there was that thought that happened. There were like expressions people were saying, the way people were reacting. It was like kind of okay, like, I start praying, I start going like, not freaking out in fear. And my first inkling was to go, me. Like, I was going, me. Can you get me where I need to go? And then the turbulence, it kept happening. And I was like, okay, this isn't about me. And I started like looking around, and I had made connections, like, talk to people who were on the flight. I'd never done that before. I was kind of normally in my own little world, especially like being a solo traveling, you kind of get in your own little world. But I did kind of talk and connect and be more social butterfly-y. And I was like, okay, what about this person? What about this person? and started praying and hoping for everyone. And then I'm like, well, it's all of us, and we all need love, and we all need that protection and that support. And then to the pilot, and I'm going around and I'm going through in my mind, and could have been something that, you know, was distracting me until the crazy turbulence stopped. It stopped once we were, you know, starting to fly over land again. It could have been that, or it could have been something that actually worked, because who knows. But I wasn't gonna take any chances and say that, you know, prayers and sending love and light and calling upon the angels and calling upon protection and calling upon the elements and asking them to help us didn't, you know, if I wouldn't have done that, what would have happened? Like, I'm not gonna take any chances, because what I have to lose, you know. It's, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't know if it did work, but something worked because I'm here. And it felt like going through the winds of change, and I had to change from what I want and what I need to what does everyone else need. And I typically do try and put other people, you know, at center focus, but I was putting myself first in this first instance, which normally I do think of others first. So for me, that was an indication of change, that I was thinking of, you know, myself and my feelings, and, you know, it's okay to feel scared, and I don't have to constantly, you know, think, let me save everybody else. It's okay to put some of that energy into myself. And after I did that, and I felt kind of more calm and relaxed, and I felt okay emotionally and spiritually, I felt fine. That's when I started switching it to the people, switching it first to the people that I had communicated with, and, you know, for them, and then to everybody else. And that's where the shift and change started happening. You know, you can't save others until you save yourself, and you can't experience change if you don't allow yourself to. And I didn't want to allow myself to experience the change or the not knowing. And so how I got to Corona, well, that I didn't want to think, I just wanted things to like work out perfectly. And then my flight landed late, and when I landed, I felt this like wave of tranquility hit me, where I was like, I don't need to stress, because everything's under control, and I know I'm gonna get where I need to go, and it doesn't matter how long it's gonna take me or whatever, I'm gonna get to where I need to go. And you know what, I basically ended up getting here the exact same time that I would have gotten here if my flight wasn't canceled and I had to change to a later flight. Technically, I just got here in a different means of travel that ended up getting me here at the exact same time. So technically, you know, it's a moot point, you know. And that's what I was seeing in the image of going from Citrine to Ametrine to Amethyst, is when we're going through change, we kind of know where our outcome is going to be in some of the situations. We know what we want, specifically with career and finance and things like that. Like, we kind of know what we want. We know where we want our life to go. We know what our end game is. We know we're going to get there. But how we get there and what matter of time we get there doesn't matter. And we're going to end up being right on time anyway, regardless of what happens, what stories along the way, because the process from Citrine to Ametrine, that's stories along the way. The process from Ametrine to Amethyst, that's stories, that's character. That crystal started as something completely different and ended as something else. And sometimes Citrine doesn't want to become Amethyst. Sometimes Ametrine doesn't want to become Amethyst. You know, sometimes they don't want to do that. Maybe you're already set, you're in your end game right now, and that's okay. But for a lot of us, we still aren't there yet. Not where we need to go. Don't know where that bike was going, but noises. That's what's very interesting about particularly doing the channeling right here, and also the visuals I was being shown. You know a car is going to drive down the road. You know a motorbike is going to drive down the road, but you don't know when. And you can sit and you can wait, or you can experience life, and then eventually it's going to come and it's going to happen. And when it does, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be nice, it's going to be like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. But would I have like rather sat and tried to force a car to come down the road, as one just did, but try to force it with my mind and try and control something that I have no control over, just to prove a point that I know it's gonna happen? Or is it better to go experience life, go do whatever, and then when I look back at it, when I look back at my plan, when I look back at the change, when I look back at where I want to go, then I can see, oh my gosh, it happened. And I did all these things along the way, and now I have more story, more development to my character, because I didn't sit and try and control something that I have no control over. So that was the other visual that I was shown from that being of inspiration, was that we have no control over how the change is going to happen. We have no control over when it's going to happen. We just know it's going to happen, and what we have control over is what we do in the meantime. That's it. You know, I have right now, I'm struggling to open a door because I don't understand keys in Europe. And now you can sit at the door and wait for hours and do nothing until someone can come in and help me with it. Or I can try and find other things to do. I know I'm gonna get inside. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. But would I rather be like, yeah, all day I sat and I just waited for you to come and let me in and help me figure out how this key works? Or this is what I did. These are the experiences I went through. This is the development of my character. Every time it seems like there's a roadblock, it seems like there's a standstill and we are waiting for something, we're not waiting for something. It's the universe telling us, here's an opportunity for you to take a chance, take a risk, try something new, and what you're waiting for will happen. But it's like sitting and watching a kettle boil. It's not gonna happen because you're staring at it. It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen, and what you do in the meantime is what matters. And that's what the Ametrine energy truly is. It's what you do in the meantime, what you become in the meantime. I don't think there was originally this intention that this new crystal was gonna be formed when Citrine-Amethyst went through the process. Like, that wasn't the original intention, but something beautiful was created in the in-between, and that's why it's such a known crystal development story. That something beautiful is created in the in-between, and right now we're in the in-between and we're beautiful and we're great. So with that, stay inspired, beautiful beings. I think the next video is going to be that Cleansers of the Earth video, or I might do another channeling in the in-between. So I'll see you in whichever one that is, but sending you love, light, and inspiration. Thank you all so much for your support. I believe in us that we can start to truly embrace present moment awareness and embrace change and the winds of change and go with the flow. And that was something I heard so much yesterday. Just go with the flow. We're going with the flow. We're going with it. We're riding the wave. The wave of life. We're riding the wave of life. So now, see you next time. Love and light. Stay inspired.